All right, enough of that. Welcome to the Pulse of the Heartland, everybody. Combat Sports Edition. We are live, and yeah, you can hear Trent in the background. We're still learning these new things that we're finding on our streaming service. But yeah, we got myself, Uncle Joe, Trent up in South Dakota, and Brian up in Iowa. How you boys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Great.
Yourself?
Good. Just got done watching UFC 276 countdown. Getting ready for the big fights on Saturday. I know we'll cover all that tonight. First and foremost, as we always do, Trent, what are you sipping on?
Nothing.
No.
Nothing. Don't have anything.
Not even ready for it. All right. Well,
No.
Bryant?
Same thing. I am drinking out of a Patty's Irish Pub out of Ames cup, but it's just water. So. After watching all these athletes work out on the UFC and stuff, I feel like I gotta get myself in better shape here too. So inspired me.
I guess I will save everybody. I am drinking a Mountain Dew Hard.
Ooh.
Yep, the black cherry.
I mean, I can go Busch Light if you don't want to drink alone.
And right in the
mouth. That's crisp.
That is crisp. I did see those at the Gallery Casey's last weekend when I was there, and I should have bought some, but I didn't.
Oh yeah, they're all over Casey's and Come and Goes now.
Oh, so you can actually get them now. That's nice.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah,
I still haven't seen them in South Dakota though.
Really?
No,
that's weird. Yeah. Are you guys behind the times up there, or what's going on?
Oh, we're ahead of the times. They're already phased out, probably.
That makes sense.
I don't know about that, but
all right. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, guys, and everyone else watching and everything. Let's jump right into this huge card. We got a lot to go over, and I know we want to keep this kind of a short podcast, but we were talking about the card a little bit before we jumped on here, and Bryant was asking, are we going to cover the prelims and stuff or just the main card? And I was like, we'll just do the main card. Looking at the prelims, even the early ones, holy shit, there's some good fights.
Yeah. I mean, even in the prelims is usually when I'm kind of, more of the, you just, if it's on, I'll watch it. And usually prelims, I'll jump in. But hell, even the early prelims have 2 top 15 fights. This one's absolutely stacked.
Yep, very much. I know if you're looking for a striking card, this might be your favorite one to ever watch. On the early prelims, you got Jessica Rose Clark versus Julia. Stoliarenko. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then I don't know anything about either one of those two, but I'm sure if they're on this card, they're going to be fireworks because obviously it's the 4th of July card. But
oh, dad joke.
Dad joke.
Oh, that was a good one. I'll give you that one.
Thanks. In our first top 15 matchup, we have Jessica I versus Macy Barber. And we've covered both of these fighters on a couple cards before. I know Jessica I is a cagey veteran that likes to throw down. She just had a title fight 4 or 5 fights ago. Excuse me. She's on a bit of a skid, not doing her best at the moment, but she's still ranked 10 in the world. So she's still very dangerous. And Macy Barber is just one of those fighters that is going to throw and throw and throw all the time.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I would say that Macy Barber, I mean, half of her fights are by knockout too. So yep. I mean, yeah, like you said, this is definitely going to be a striker-filled card.
Oh God, yeah. So and then the main, most of the people I talk to hate me when I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The main event of the early prelims is Uriah Hall versus Andre Muniz. And if you know anything about UFC in the last, 5-6 years, you know who Uriah Hall is. He was supposed to be the second coming of Anderson Silva. He was on The Ultimate Fighter a few years ago and just starched a guy with a spinning leg kick right to the head, right to the dome. The guy just crumbled, and it was crazy. Andre Muniz is a different type of striker, but he throws about the same, and he's very, very good on the ground. You can see 68% of his wins have come by submission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that's probably going to be about Muniz's best shot is getting him down early because I'd say, like you said, Uriah, he will knock you out. If he doesn't, he kind of struggles everywhere else. But I would say if Muniz can get him down, and he's a pretty heavy favorite here. I'm looking at the odds right now. He's minus 285 to beat Hall.
Wow. Yeah, he is.
I like those fights that have the two fighters have contrasting fighting styles like that because Just whoever plays their own game the best and doesn't try to play the other's game is usually the winner on that. I like those fights.
That is going to be a big theme for this whole card. I know you and I talked about it last time on the Combat Sports Pod, Trent. You were asking like which one usually ends up being better, which style. I know I told you to watch and make your own decision on which one you like better. Do you have a favorite style yet? I know you're kind of new to the UFC game.
I like to see punches thrown. I like to see the knockouts.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say even if you enjoy UFC, you got Joey's also the one that would love a 3-0 football match. He loves defense, so he would totally enjoy working the ground and working for submissions for 5 straight periods. But yeah, I would say even as casual, you go for the big knockout every time.
Oh yeah,
you can tell the Big 12 fans versus the Big 10 fan here.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I love big knockouts. I love watching the heavyweights just throw. I mean, you can end a fight at any time. But yes, I have spent many a lunch break watching old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappling matches, gi, no gi, all of that. And then also some of my favorite fighters of all time are the ones that they just say wrestle fuck, GSP and Khabib Nurmagomedov. So anyone that can get a takedown. I grew up a wrestler. I love, taking people down that way. So anyone that can do that is great in my eyes.
Especially at that level too.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. So anyway, moving on to the prelims. There's a ton of big fights on here. A lot of big names. The two that's probably going to stand out the most to most people is Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller. Both have been around forever. Literally just... Jim Miller was on UFC 100. He was on UFC 200, and Dana White reportedly wants to have him on UFC 300. So that'll be like mid next summer, probably. So he may be still fighting then.
They have 102 fights combined versus them. That is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so then the other person on this card, or on the prelims, that has that many fights is Robbie Lawler. He's on the main card. My bad. We'll get to him in a second. But he also has a shit ton of fights.
Yeah, no, honestly, that it's funny. I always love the contrast, like you said. These 102 fights, and then isn't there someone on the main card that has 2 fights in the UFC? I mean, just completely opposite. Hardly any experience here.
Mm-hmm. To cover the rest of the prelims, you have Brad Tavares, ranked number 12, versus Dricus Du Plessis. Duplessis is a favorite somehow, and he's unranked, but I don't really remember watching him fight. But Brad Tavares is a long, lanky type guy who also has a lot of punching power. But I know he's been ended the last few fights with some leg kicks, so we'll see what happens there. Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone. I'm not even going to make a pick on this one because Cerrone and Miller just like to throw. They like to fight. They're just going to go after each other to watch.
Yep. No, ground and pound. But I think the loser of this one is just going to turn into dust by the into the match.
Probably. I think Jim Miller he may have the record for most submissions in UFC history. I'll have to look at that. It's either between him or Joe Lozon, who also is another old man that still fights. When I say old man, they're probably like 2 years older than me. So
you're looking at most submissions, you said?
Yeah, I think so. Jim Miller's got to be up there.
Royce Gracie.
Okay. That would make sense, I guess. But never mind. I'm just spewing bullshit at this time.
Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at just a... I'm going to make sure if this is right here. Keep going on here. I'm trying to look at the stats now.
Next fight, we have 2 up-and-comers, Ian Gary and Gabriel Green. I have watched Ian fight before. Just very disciplined, well-rounded striker. Gabriel Green, I don't think I've watched him, but just judging by his record and the percentages that he's won by and lost by, I'm guessing that he's probably going to try and get this taken to the ground. He's a big 55% sub guy. So we'll see what happens with that fight. And then last but not least, the main event of the prelims is Brad Riddle versus Jalen Turner. Both like to throw, both like to just mix it up. This should be a hell of a fight to see what's going on.
Sorry, which
You're fine.
one you're looking at here, Joey?
You're fighting Brad Riddle versus Jalen Turner. One of my favorite things about these fights that, all the time they win by knockouts. They don't hardly win by decisions or anything. And especially with it being the fight right before the main event or the main card, is it gets the juices going, as in the Kanye and Jay-Z song. It's provocative. It gets the people going.
It's very Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. Sorry, I'm getting to the stats right now. I mean, shit, Jalen 75% KO, Riddle 50%. I mean, oh my goodness, a lot of significant strikes. Yeah, that's definitely the one where just slobber knocking, definitely going to be trying to throw those haymakers, just knock the other person out as fast as they can.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I think the big thing with going into the prelims and the early prelims, it's going to be an exciting card up from the bottom all the way to the top. Watch for a lot of hands thrown, a lot of exciting stuff going on. Also,
by the way, I just found it by submission wins. Oliveira, he's at the top at 16, by Demian Maia at 11, and then Jim Miller at 10. So he's top 3 all time.
Nice. Maybe I'm just thinking in his division, but it doesn't matter. I knew he had a lot of submission wins, but he also likes to throw. So we'll see how that goes with him and Cerrone. All right, moving on to the main card. I'm going to just list off the fights first, and then we'll break them down. I just want to get your guys' overall opinion after I list them off. Card starts with Sean O'Malley versus Pedro Munoz. Then we got Robbie Lawler and Brian Barberena. Then we got Sean Strickland, Alex Pereira. In the co-main event, we have a championship fight. Alexander Volkanovski puts his featherweight belt on the line in the final and third fight of the trilogy with Max Holloway. And then Israel Adesanya puts his middleweight title on the line against Jared Cannonier, a guy that's jumped down from heavyweight and is now number 1 contender at middleweight at 185. Any opening thoughts from you guys?
I would say if people don't watch it, I would definitely, Joey sent us the UFC Embedded that's on YouTube right now to watch. That Jaron Cannonier, I would say the way that they were hyping him up and the way he was coming, I would say before I saw the odds, and I know Israel was going to be the favorite, but that kind of got me going for Jaron. So he might be what my underdog pick that I got to make for the card here.
Nice, yeah.
Brian's sleeper pick right there.
Maybe, I don't know.
Trent, you got any opening thoughts yet?
A thought I had on. I guess I'll get into it once we break down the fights. I won't ask my question yet.
Okay, that's fine.
It's about that fight. Just
okay.
Question for somebody that knows more about it than me.
My opening thought would be, this is again just full of strikers. Just going off of what they've done in the past, Israel Adesanya may be the most mesmerizing striker in UFC history, not named Anderson Silva. He's just so good at toying with people. Volkanovski and Holloway have had 2 split decisions. Volkanovski's ended up winning both of them. Very, very close fights. Holloway is on a 2-fight winning streak where he just battered people. And in one of his fights, he's yelling in the middle of the fight, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC," while the guy's swinging at him and he's just moving his head and jacking him in the face. I mean, it's fucking awesome. Then you got Robbie Lawler, who, if you haven't seen Robbie Lawler versus, his name is the Red King, Rory McDonald, 1 or 2, they both got fight of the year, and they are both just fucking amazing. Robbie Lawler ended up with part of his lip just hanging off his face, and he ended up winning the match. And should have been knocked out in the 5th round. It was awesome. Robbie comes to throw. Good old Iowa boy. Yeah, he's pretty badass. And then Sean O'Malley is the new version of Conor McGregor and backing up everything he does. Throws wild shit, and it's just going to be a household name before too long. So this card is stacked from top to bottom.
I mean, I would say he's kind of a bit of a household name right now. I would say of all the names, he was one of the first ones that I recognized. Obviously the main and co-main event, but he was the first one that stuck off the paper to me. I would say he, like you said, I was always a huge Conor fan as well. So maybe the guys that talk the most shit and get their name out there, I recognize a little bit more.
Yep, I agree. So, give us your thoughts on the rest of this fight, then.
So for O'Malley,
Yeah.
well, you know what? The first thing I'd look at these guys when I'm trying to make my picks is going to be the reach advantage. So what did let me get Trent's version of the way he said O'Malley has a 7-inch reach advantage, which makes Bryant have a 7-inch eggplant emoji. So yes, I would agree with that 100%. And thank you for the few extra inches there, Trent. But yes, I would say that is always the big thing that I'm looking for is going to be, and especially at their size, I think reach is going to be huge. So I would say I'm when I was going through my picks, I have a bad feeling it's going to be like all favorites. But I would say O'Malley was the first one I wrote down. Even minus 300, I don't see the other guy beating him. He's backed up everything he said so far.
Yeah, O'Malley was on Pat McAfee show today, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just saw it scrolling through Twitter this evening. They just have clips from all the interviews they do, and he was on there, and they were talking about him. This is the first fight of the main card, and he said on Pat McAfee show today that he likes opening up the main card. He likes to be the first one out. He said that way he can fight. He can go do his hours worth of like press conference or whatever, and then he can come back out and watch like the main event.
Right.
And they asked him
playing 4D chess there.
Yeah, and they asked him about when he wants to do a like be the main event at the end. He said, "Once I can win $1 million in a fight."
I mean, he's probably getting up there at some. Excuse me.
Yeah.
At some point,
they said in probably like not his next fight, but maybe the fight after, they might be up to that kind of money for the winner in that main event. So the two fights.
Well, he's got to. I mean, this is his first top 10 opponent, so he's got to get past this. God damn it, the guy. Wrong card. He's got to get past Pedro Munoz first, who is a very good striker in his own right and can put up a lot of flashy things. So I'm excited about this fight. I do think O'Malley, like Brian said, backs this up. And I hope he gets that big payday. I don't know if you guys saw on the embeddeds where he's going to swimming lessons with his daughter and stuff, and says he's, he doesn't understand how guys can go for 4 or 5 months and train because he misses his family too much, even on the 4 or 5 days that he's gone for some fights. And I respect that a lot. So I really look forward to this guy becoming an up and comer and doing his thing and becoming solidified as maybe the tops in the division.
Do we happen to know what the purse is on these fights right now on just the main card at all?
I don't. I could probably look that up. I know the UFC usually tries to not disclose that shit. So
yeah, I know you've been pretty vocal in the past about we in the main pod we always talk about PG and Live right now and the pay discrepancy and how now with Live, I won't even say they're making a lot of noise. They're making noise not from the product but because they're different. And I mean, in just 2 tournaments, they've what were we saying that they raised the purse by 20% on it? So I mean, isn't Bellator kind of trying to do that, paying a little bit more, or they are okay? So I thought we were the last combat sports pod I was on, but I would say you can't really get mad at an O'Malley for saying like, hey, they're not paying me enough. Like you said, I want to just do it my own way. Then he can watch the main events and everything else.
Yep.
So. I just found this on the Sports Daily, and fuck the UFC. I'm going to share this. This is bullshit.
Expose him, Joey.
Yeah, this isn't the UFC pod.
Yeah, come at me, Dana. So as you can see, this is okay. I like cookies. So you have Israel Adesanya here, Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Robbie Lawler, Donald Cerrone, Jared Cannonier. He's in the main event. His guarantee is $250,000. That's with incentives and everything. That's like his total guarantee pay. Base pay for him. So if he just shows and for some reason doesn't fight, is $100,000. That's it.
Okay.
And he's in the main event. I mean, Adesanya is at $1,050,000, and then you've got fucking.
Where's O'Malley? Oh my! Look at how far O'Malley is on the main card.
Yep. Not even at 100,000. Probably $46,000 is what he's guaranteed.
Well, I guess he's got the name, but he's definitely not getting paid like the rest of these main card people. Well, yeah, if I can put me on the prelim, I don't give a shit at that point if you're only going to pay me that much. But
it's fucking ridiculous. So the guaranteed pay in base salary is $540,000 for Adesanya. Obviously, they get points and stuff for however many pay-per-views and stuff they buy and get sold. But Christ, man, you
is
have
that
these guys.
To every fighter, like a percentage wise? I'm assuming because Israel, he's the main, and it kind of trickles down. Or
Yeah. So according to this, they all get the same points. You get incentive pay, which is 42,000, 32,000, 42. So it's a percentage of what your base pay is, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, maybe he needs to start negotiating more. And again, the more, like with we're just strictly kind of talking about O'Malley here, but the more he wins, obviously, he's going to be drawing that. I mean, Israel, yeah, he's getting $1 million. He's 22-1, or I'm sorry, 22-2.
Yep. 22 in, he's 15-1 in
15-1.
UFC. Yeah.
15-1 in UFC. So again, O'Malley's a few wins off of that, but he's going to get there if he keeps backing it up. But again, I guess you can go with everyone has to pay their dues, but yeah, it's still bullshit. We're acting like the UFC might go under if they don't have a profitable quarter here,
Yep.
Now, Pedro Munez, coming into this fight, he's lost 4 of his last 5, and he's still making the main card. Like, he's kind of, I don't know, he's on a skid right now.
I would say this is more. I mean, that's probably fair, but I'd say this is probably more, O'Malley's doing than it is, like you said, losing 4 or 5. You don't deserve a main card. It's because O'Malley's been so dominant.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all got me on a rabbit hole now. So I was just looking up the base pay, the guaranteed pay for a championship fight on the ESPN boxing Friday night fights.
Yep.
$2 to $3 million guarantee, and then as you go up in weight class, you get another $1 million every weight class you go up. Are you fist fucking me? Fuck the Oh my god, that makes me so angry about the UFC. That's bullshit. No one is watching ESPN Friday night fights. I'm sorry. To me, boxing is kind of a dead sport. I don't know anyone that pays attention that much to boxing. There's like 70 fucking belts. So UFC is the main staple for MMA. We know they're getting money. Dana White just made $100 million, $350 million on their buyout. Like,
yeah,
fucking pay these guys. No wonder Ngannou and stuff wants to go to boxing. Like, he could go fight on ESPN and fight cans and make $2 million.
Boxer. He could be an average boxer and probably make more money than be the best in this.
God, all right. Continuing on, I'm excited for the fight card, but fuck the higher ups at UFC. That makes me angry.
But they still deserve their money. We agree.
Yeah. All right. So next card, we'll do picks clear at the end. Does that work for you guys, or you want to do them now so we don't forget?
Do them at the end.
Okay. Next fight we got on the card is Robbie Lawler versus Brian Barberena, and Lawler, like I said, is a long time former champion, big veteran, likes to throw. This is going to be exciting, whether he's fighting Barberena or if he's just fighting the side of the cage. Like, he's going to throw until he can't anymore.
44 fights.
Yep.
Under his belt. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm. And you put in here too that he went to Strikeforce for a while and he became champ there as well. He's very, very fucking good. And like I said, he's from Iowa. Was trained at the Militich camp for a long time. Coming out of South Florida now, but he's a very, very humble guy, easily to like, and then he also just throws like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to look that up. Out of Bettendorf, Iowa.
Yep. But they're both pretty close, I would say, as Trent has noted here. I mean, they're both, I wouldn't say on skids. I mean, Brian is 5-5 in his last 10, but Lawler's lost 5 of his last 7. So none of them really on a hot streak right now, really. So
nope. I think this is one of those. Again, it's 4th of July card, second biggest one of this year usually for UFC. Usually their New Year's one and their 4th of July are their 2 biggest. this is one of those that's on the main event to draw and also to just have, sorry for the pun again, fireworks just throwing and things exploding, basically.
Yeah, no, and definitely when I'm looking at a card, you see Lawler on there. You know him, you respect the history he has. So yeah, I mean, this will be a fight. I think a lot of people will be watching.
And I wouldn't doubt with, although there are some other good and great fights on here, if these two go the distance and keep throwing like I've seen them both do, this could go fight of the night for sure.
So I just got a text.
Mhm.
I got to ask, how many people watch this UFC card? Like
This one?
how many? Like what will it bring in? Like how many pay-per-views will it sell?
Let me look.
So we can kind of definitely do it on the fly because you're saying, I mean, if it's the 4th of July and New Year's, and again, I feel like they'd probably be able to a lot more. You're gonna have a bunch of people at the house for the holiday. You're probably more than willing to spend the $80 to watch a card when you have a couple buddies chipping in rather than every single one where you might be middle of August, can't have anyone over. Am I gonna spend the $80 on it? Nah. Compared to this one, whenever it might be around.
So David texted me and said the average boxing viewership on ESPN is 1.3 million.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, yep. That's pretty fucking low. I would say I'm pretty sure we were talking at the beginning of XFL or not XFL, whatever. What was it?
USFL?
We faked love and go Maulers. They were averaging like the premier games. They were averaging over 1 million, and then like the ones when early afternoon, there's other sports competing. They still had I think like 300,000 to 500,000. So on Friday night, primetime television, you're bringing in a little over 1 million viewers, and you're paying that type of money. I don't know how the UFC keeps getting away with this robbery of its fighters with having probably way more viewers plus pay-per-view.
All right, exactly. And so I'm looking for. So there's 2 McGregor cards that are over 1.5 and one that's over 2 million. But for the 4th of July, the largest one that's not a McGregor card is Usman versus Masvidal, and that was 251 of 2020, and that did 1.3. And then UFC 100 was an amazing card, also did 1.3 million. So I mean, we're talking millions of pay-per-view buys, not just.
That's where I was going to go with it next too, because ESPN, everybody has ESPN with their basic cable package,
right?
Whereas people are paying $80 every time one of these is on.
Only reason I have ESPN Plus is because I had to buy a UFC fight last year. I mean, I don't get it. It used to be the cards were what $60, so even at that 1.3 million. Quick math, 60 million, more than that. But, with this, if they are close to that 1.3 or even 1 million, make it easy. $80 million for pay-per-views. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I wish we had the official numbers to calculate that down, but yeah, I don't know, man. That's just absolutely insane.
Bullshit. It's bullshit. Even if you take a 15% off the top, say for expenses and paying crews and shit, you're looking at saving $12 million. So you still have $68 million to split between these fighters. You can't tell me that they shouldn't be making more.
Cut that in half. You can't split 32 million. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
You could give them less than half, and it would be whatever.
Exactly. Thank you. Now that we're putting numbers to my arguments, I love it. Thank you.
I mean, they're making money hand over fist no matter what. If anything, ESPN's getting the big thing they wanted with now the streaming wars, the streaming platforms. All you need to do is what is going to bring in. That's why Netflix is losing subscribers. It's because they don't have a good product. That's why do you think that ESPN Plus is gaining subscribers because they bought UFC, right? I mean, either way, you're getting the ESPN Plus because of these fights that we're bringing in. I mean, it would be interesting to see the numbers on how many specifically have ESPN Plus because they bought a fight for the first time. I'm sorry, Joey's just got his cat throwing paws at me right now.
$1 billion that he deserves for being on UFC 276.
Do they have a puppy bowl version, like for the Super Bowl? Do they have a cat version of that for UFC? Just cat fights
Oh,
beforehand?
that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
There
But
we go.
all right, well, I suppose we could stop being little snowflakes so we can just continue on with the
Quit
rest
crying
of the
about
card.
these athletes not getting paid enough, you know.
Yeah. Next fight we got up on here, we got Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira. They're both pretty not no names, but they're still up and comers. Sean Strickland has 28 fights, but Pereira, as Bryant mentioned earlier, only is 2-0 in the UFC and only is 5-1 overall.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that guy must have just fought the right people and got in with the 6 fights and you're already the third fight in a main event. I mean that's insane.
And his 6 fights were over the last 7 years.
Ooh.
Since 2015.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got some blackmail on Dana. I don't know.
They were, let's see, he has won his last 5 fights. His first loss, his only loss, was at Jungle Fight 82. What is Jungle Fight? Like, that's a legit question. I have this in my notes. Never heard of it.
It's probably just a regional fight circuit type thing.
Okay.
So you don't think it's as big as like the Thrilla in Manila back in the day, Ali and Foreman?
Yeah.
You don't think it's those type of jungle fights out there? No, it's I have a feeling it's the exact same thing you said, Joey. Just little regional nothing fights, which still begs how did a 6-fight fighter get into the main event? But
and only 2 of them are on the UFC.
Yeah. I guess they're going to really promote the shit out of him being undefeated in UFC, and they're not going to say that it's only 2 wins. They're going to say this guy has never lost yet.
Oh, okay. So I had no idea who Alex Pereira was. So he's a former 2-division Glory kickboxing champion. So he has a lot of fighting experience, just doesn't have MMA experience.
Okay.
And so that's why now he's 5-0. They think that with a win and an Adesanya win, they will probably fight each other. So going from unranked to a title fight would be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And this is the fight that's got the betting odds are both in negative numbers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
If that happens, if they jump him to Adesanya and then Adesanya kicks the shit out of him, maybe literally, I mean that would be just a terrible look on the UFC. Yes, he's got the fighting experience, but I don't know. Just jumping him to a main card where there's plenty of other guys that have been fighting UFC religiously. Again, I don't know. I guess we'll definitely have to see. I mean, he just by appearances as well, he looks like the better fighter. I mean, he looks like he's better kept in shape and everything. But I don't know. Do you know how to say his Poetin? What's his nickname there? Strickland number 4 and Alex Poetin Pereira.
Poetin? I don't know.
Alex Peloton Pereira. Okay.
Yeah, Peloton.
Let's ride bikes.
So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, if he's a former kickboxing champion, this is going to be an exciting fucking fight too. So hopefully, they just throw down like I think they're gonna.
Throw down and kick down.
Exactly. Fight after that, we've got the co-main event. We got Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. As I mentioned earlier, this is the 3rd fight in this trilogy. Volkanovski's won 2 split decisions in a row, the last one being very, very close. Max Holloway came away thinking that he won that and has since been on a tear, just going at people, like I said, yelling out that he's the best boxer in the world. But 2 highlight reel finishes with Yair Rodriguez and Katter. Katter. What's his first name? Brian Katter. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, just big wins. Max Holloway is probably going to go down as the greatest featherweight of all time, which is kind of cool. So he is probably going to beat out Jose Aldo because of his winning streaks.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to say That this has got to be so frustrating for Max. I would say, looking at it, and thank you, Trent, for having these stats kind of at the ready. Max is 23-6 overall. He's been 3-3 in his last fight, so it's kind of been recently he's been losing, and then 2 of those are to Volk, one of the best one of the best fighters now, or possibly ever. 24-1, but it's just that the hill that he can't climb right now. It seems.
Mm-hmm.
So also, what made one of the best matchups they have right now, just strictly on nicknames, Alexander the Great Volkanovski and Max Blessed Holloway. 2 legit nicknames. So it's kind of like if a fighter has a good nickname, long reach, it's almost like when you're picking horses. If they got a good name, I'm going to pick them. So
Right.
this one's going to be a tough one for me. Is all I'm going to say.
Trent, you got any thoughts on this one?
No. I mean, I kind of talked about this on the last UFC podcast I was on. That I really got into the numbers on this and how these fighters were trending in their last few fights. And like Brian said, Max, is 3-3 in his last 6, and Alexander Volkanovski has won 20 fights in a row. So
I think I know where you're leading.
Might be
there,
a sneak peek here on where I'm going with that fight.
That's all right. Don't give anything away yet. We can move on, but I don't want you to give your picks away 3 minutes early. So last but not least, we got the main event of the evening. One of the most entertaining people in the UFC, Israel Adesanya, both in the cage and outside the cage. The Last Airbender is his nickname. Is going up Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. Dude out of Anchorage, Alaska. You don't hear that a lot. He's dropped down from heavyweight down to 185. Looks very natural. Has a lot of power still at 185. Moves very, very sleek. It's going to be a very big style matchup, and see how Adesanya picks him apart with his hands, or if Cannonier can close the distance with the long leg and just arm reach advantage.
And that's always good. That is going to be the toughest thing. He's going to have the weight. The weight is just can he? I mean, if you've ever seen Adesanya fighting, I mean his reach and just. I mean, I think it always whenever they show him, they have a clip of Joe Rogan. He's got one of the most complex and competent just fighting styles. I mean, his striking is amazing. I don't know. I like I said, they kind of sold me on Cannonier on the embeddeds, but I mean, I've seen with my eyes what Adesanya can do in the ring there. Or sorry, the octagon.
I mean, he's out of Alaska, so he obviously trains against polar bears.
Yeah.
So that's probably good for him.
Is that Russians and Alaskans there? They fight against polar bears. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I forget. Oh, and then one thing I was gonna say is Israel Adesanya is not undefeated, but he is at 185. His only loss has come against Jan Blachowicz, who was the former champ at 205. And it was a very, very good fight. Israel went up, only weighed in again at like 195, maybe 200, and put up a great fight against a guy that was cutting weight much, much bigger than him. So he can hold his own against just about anybody. So I'm sure the size of Cannonier isn't going to be anything that intimidates him, but the striking power definitely should.
No, absolutely. I would say, I would say, and with Adesanya, he gets so many significant strikes in as well, and that's when you're in a championship fight, as we know, you have to beat the champion, and if he's going to get those significant strikes, if this goes down to a decision, I mean, he's going to be a tough. He's going to be a tough champion to dethrone when you have to, I mean, I don't think there's any other way. He's just dominant. You have to overall beat him. It can't be a close fight. So
right.
I don't know if anyone can do that with Israel with the way he's fighting right now.
Yep.
So what is Adesanya's fighting style?
So it's striker. It is because Lyoto Machida started this. It's almost like crane karate type thing. His hands are usually right about here, and he just kicks and is a counter striker, much like Anderson Silva. A lot of people thought that their fight that they had was kind of boring because they were both waiting for the other one to make mistakes. But they're both so lethal and technical and can just touch you and knock you out type of thing. And that's kind of Israel's go-to is he can pinpoint exactly where your chin's at, wherever he's at in the octagon.
So what about Cannonier? What's his fighting style now?
Power. He's a former heavyweight. He still has that. He moves better than he did before, but he is all about closing the distance, coming in and throwing, getting power, push you up against the fence, wearing you down, that type of thing. He will take people down and he will ground and pound.
So that was my question here. Israel's 5 inches taller. Does that favor anyone with their style? Because I was going to say, if Cannonier is wanting to get you on the ground, he's that much shorter, but Israel is that much taller and he's a striker. Would that favor either one of them?
So mostly it'll be if Cannonier can get inside of Adesanya's reach. If he can get past the fists and more towards the elbows and more towards the body where he can actually reach him and control him, it could be Cannonier's fight. Adesanya is very, very good at like Muay Thai clinches and stuff, which means he's holding his head down, pushing knees up to the chest, to the chin. So even if Cannonier gets close, Israel's going to be deadly and dangerous. But Cannonier has the power and is also not a slouch when it comes to his height and reach anyway. So I mean, it's not like he's got to close a lot of distance. But if he can get inside of Adesanya's reach, he could do a lot of damage there. I would say that this fight, based on the fighting styles, probably favors Adesanya. But with someone with Cannonier's power, you can never really count them completely out.
One thing we got to look at as well is going, like you said, Adesanya. He's very patient when he's fighting. I keep looking back at the record books right now. He averages the longest average fight time of any middleweight in history. He's averages 16 minutes and 55 seconds. Right above Sean Strickland, who is also on this main event here. But I mean, like you said, it can get boring at times. He's the classic one punch and you're done. But it could take 15 minutes to get to that punch because, like you said, he is very smart and patient with standing back and waiting for his moment. He doesn't force anything. So I would say Cannonier, he's gonna have to have his stamina ready as well.
Yep. Being a main event, that 16 minutes could be longer. He could extend that lead.
Yeah,
that record.
That record that he definitely wants to hold, longest average fight time.
Yeah.
God, doing all that working out just have to be out there that fucking long, man. Just wear out the other guy. That's all he does.
So that is the main card coverage. What we want to do now is get into our picks, and I am going to type these up as we do them so that we can make some bets this weekend.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start at the top we'll start at the bottom, I guess, with the first fight of the main event. We got Pedro Munoz versus Sean O'Malley. Who you guys got?
I mean, O'Malley. Like I said, I'm tuning in. He's probably one of the main people I tune in for. I got to root for the guy.
I got O'Malley on this one too. Well, he's on Pat McAfee's show today, so that's good for him. And Pedro, like I said, he's lost 4 of his last 5. He's trending in the wrong direction here.
Mm-hmm. For all of the reasons that you both said, I agree. I'm going to go with O'Malley as well. I think that his fight style and just the way he carries himself, just a lot of confidence going into every fight. So looking forward to him getting another W here. We also have some guest picks from Ryan. And hold on, he texted me. Or he texted all of us, I guess. But he picked O'Malley. I just can't vote for Pedro.
Good enough.
Look at that guy. Look at that guy coming with the puns.
He had just as much reasoning behind picking those as I did when I just did strictly reach. So
yep, exactly. So we had Trent pick first. Did Bryant you pick first on that one?
Bryant did.
Okay, Trent, why don't you go ahead and pick the Lawler versus Brian Barberina fight?
Oh well, Again, I'm going with trending here. Lawler's lost 5 of his last 7. He's fought 44 times, which seems like an insane amount. And Brian's got to be fresh, right? I mean, he's only fought 25 times.
Right.
He's still 5-5 in his last 10 fights, but I'm going to go with the underdog here. He's at plus 105. So I'm going with Barbarina.
All right. Right.
Experience over, I guess experience is what I'm going to be going with. I'll go with Robbie Ruthless Lawler.
I'm going with Robbie also, mostly just because I never want to bet against him. Good old Iowa boy, and I just love the way he fights. So I think that he can end any fight, and I think he can be ended in any fight. So I'm going to pick Lawler as well.
Since Trent moved to South Dakota, he lost his Iowa loyalty, so he's okay with going the other way.
What about Joey? He lives in Missouri.
Yep,
Well, he kept his loyalty. I don't know. He picked Lawler.
Ryan has Brian, Barbara, Ann. Robbie is too white of a name, he said. So there's a Ryan adding some diversity to our
Caucasian
picks.
in that name, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, he's from Iowa, so
Yeah, makes sense. Next fight, we got Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira. I'm picking first on this one. So I really want to pick Sean Strickland just because I think he's a good all-around fighter, but I am also very excited about the Alex Pereira prospect, especially finding out now that he was a 2-division Glory kickboxing champion. I am going to go with Alex Pereira, and I am also going to say this is my lock of the night. I think he wins by KO.
Okay.
all right.
Trent?
I think it's you, Bryant. I think I'm last here.
I'll go Strickland. Honestly, I had him written down, and yeah, Pereira's only had the minimum amount of fights in UFC. He's got the reach advantage, height, everything makes sense for it. I would say I don't know. Sean, again, he's got 28 fights in the UFC, and you don't get to the number 4 ranking. He's only. I mean, we're acting like Strickland now. He's only got 3 losses. I mean, I feel like it's stupid if I don't pick Strickland with the experience he has.
Yep, that makes sense. Trent?
So I'm going with the underdog here that is still a favorite. That makes sense. He is in negative 105. Pereira was negative 115. So the minus 105, Sean Strickland is who I'm going with. He's won 10 out of his last 12. Like Bryant said, he has only lost 3 fights. Still really good here. So I'm going with Strickland.
All right.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All right.
Joey,
all right, now
taking a chance on it with the new guy, I guess.
So, as we mentioned earlier, I watched a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappling matches. I have also delved into a lot of hours spent in kickboxing. So I like both. I think kickboxing is, after wrestling, I think it's the best martial art to translate into UFC and MMA. Mm-hmm. But they also tend to leave themselves open for a lot of takedowns and big strikes that they are trying to reach on their own. So we'll see. I think it's going to be exciting either way, but if he was a 2-division kickboxing champ and Glory, I'm going to ride that. So,
okay.
All right. Co-main event, we got Alexander Volkanovski. I believe Bryant went first, so I think it's back to you, bud.
Volkanovski. I mean, you just see that. You just see someone where until they get over that hump, I'm just gonna have to go with Volk. He's won the last 2, even though they're split decisions. It's gonna be a good fight. I gotta see it to believe it first. So I'm gonna go with the champion. I know that's a crazy thought, but I'm gonna go with Volk.
Trent?
So in the UFC, is it like college basketball where they say it's hard to beat somebody 3 times in a season? Mm-hmm. Because Volkanovski's won the last 2 on this. But he's won 20 fights in a row. I'm going with Volkanovski. He's the favorite. He's minus 200. Okay. I'm going with Volky.
Nice.
All right. I am going to go opposite of both of you. I think Max Holloway is going to go down as the greatest featherweight in the history of the UFC for a reason. Watching his fight with Catter and then also Yair Rodriguez, the Catter fight was just fucking phenomenal. He looked like a completely different person. I think Max is on another level right now. I think he continues that, and I'm going to go with Holloway.
Nice.
Our last 3 picks, have me and Bryant agreed on all of them, and Joey's gone away from them?
Lawler, we flipped around.
Oh, we don't. Okay, I got you.
Last 2 though,
right.
But that being, oh shit, I forgot. I need to read Ryan's. So in the Strickland fight, he's Strickland is Strickland Propane. Taste the meat, not the heat, bud. And then this fight, he did Volky. Nickname is close to Volky Wedges. I'm assuming that's
Titleist Volky Wedges.
I thought it was a South Dakota thing, but either way, I had to go to you for that. So you're on the clock for your pick in the main event of Adesanya versus Cannonier, bud.
Well, both of them, I don't want to say are the Israel. You know, he won 19 fights in a row, then he lost, then he won 2 fights. So he's 22-1. So I don't want to say, oh, he just lost a fight, he's not doing well. But you know, Cannonier's won 5 of his last 6 as well. Israel is 5 inches taller. You know, not a reach thing for Bryant over here, but this is a big spread. Israel is at -450. Cannonier is at +325. I'm going to go with the favorite here, Israel, at -450.
Nice.
Yep. Joey?
So breaking down this fight, I think Adesanya is going to go down as maybe the greatest middleweight of all time. I don't know. He's got a big hill to climb over with Anderson Silva. I think that he's very, very good, undefeated at 185. When I look at this matchup, though, I see Jan Blachowicz 2.0 and Jared Cannonier with maybe more movement. So that makes me want to pick Cannonier. I think Blachowicz just had a good game plan, was able to get inside and wasn't afraid of the striking of Adesanya. I think Cannonier is going to be the same. I think Adesanya is maybe the most technical striker that he's ever fought, but I don't think he is afraid of the power that he has coming down from the weight classes. So that being said, I'm going to go with Cannonier in the upset, the huge upset. And I'm going to put $10 on this parlay and hope that I become a millionaire because I do think Adesanya is probably going to win, but I can't go against that matchup differentiation with the Blachowicz fight. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cannonier.
Well, I didn't mention this when we were breaking down earlier, but 2 fantastic nicknames: the Last Style Bender versus the Phil Gorilla. So I mean, or the Killer Gorilla. So I think we need to make sure people are aware of that. I think Adesanya just wears him down, dude. I don't say I got Adesanya, and I'm gonna have him. This is gonna be my my one niche. I have him as a 4th round knockout, just with him having those at that time. That's going to be my, I guess that's going to be my guess. 4th round knockout on that one.
All right. I like it. And then we've got Ryan with Cannonier because, I mean, he has cannon in his name. So Ryan with the scientific picks tonight. I like it very much.
Ryan's favorite movie is actually Drumline because it has Nick Cannon in it. So I mean,
Cannon.
How many kids does Nick Cannon have now? I'm pretty sure he's got like 9 kids. Just I know it's not UFC related. I just feel like to know that.
I don't know. I don't know how many kids Nick Cannon has. That's good though.
Well, let's get a stats guy on it real quick. You know what I am upset about real quick though, Joey?
What grinds your gears, Bryant?
We didn't ask on any of these fighters if they got that dog in them.
God!
We missed that. We missed that whole thing. I think all of them do. I think that's a big takeaway.
I'm not sure if any UFC fighter doesn't have the dog in them.
Yeah, I
You know
don't
what
feel
mean?
like you'd make it this far without it.
Correct.
I would say the biggest dog in this whole card would probably be Robbie Lawler. I know I've been on his nuts all night, but yeah,
Yep.
he's just a badass. So
Nothing wrong with it.
yep.
Yep.
Also,
Anyway,
Nick Cannon has 7 kids. I just looked up.
the cannon.
You're close. You're close with
Got that? He's got a cannon somewhere. He keeps having kids.
None with Mariah Carey though, right?
I
I
don't think
don't
so.
care that much. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll leave it at the 7 kids portion.
I like it. All right. Any closing thoughts from you two on the card?
No, I'm excited. It'll probably be the first one I bought in a while. So
Nice. Trent?
My bold prediction: O'Malley in the first round. Knockout.
Oh, awesome. I will mark that
Nice.
down too.
all right, yeah, there we go. Now we all got bold predictions. By the way, Trent, you and me, we matched up the last three fights there.
Yeah, it's because we know more about this than Joey.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see when the podcast comes full circle in August and we get back together. I'll just be giving you guys the middle finger while I'm on my yacht from this parlay that I'm gonna throw $10 on.
All
yeah,
right.
you'll remember this, won't you?
Exactly.
Okay.
You'll have video evidence of it. So
Mhm.
No, I'm excited. Like Brian said, this is going to be fun. Early prelims start at 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and then UFC Fight Pass. God, I hope that's on ESPN too, because that sucks if it's just on Fight Pass. No one fucking buys Fight Pass anymore. But anyway, enough of me bitching about UFC. And then the prelims start at 7 p.m. on ABC and ESPN, and the main card, as always, starts at 9. You can buy that on ESPN Plus. So hopefully this gets you guys pumped as we are. We'll reach back out. I'm sure someone will be live tweeting from our account going forward. But which one of you two wants to interview for my job and give them the socials?
oh shit, I can do it.
Go ahead, Brian. You got experience.
I would
All right.
say with Twitter and Instagram, it's Heartland Pulse. Facebook and YouTube, obviously, you're watching from those. So again, thanks for watching and listening. But that is going to be Pulse of the Heartland. If you haven't yet, make sure you like, subscribe on YouTube so you can see when we go live. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, so you can actually watch it live here.
Yes, sir. So yeah, thanks again for joining us. As Bryant said, we appreciate you guys watching. Again, the Pulse of the Heartland altogether is going to take a little hiatus during July, but we will have another golf one out. I may throw in some more UFC combat sports with the wrestling trials and world championships coming up. So we'll see. But yeah, be on the lookout on all our socials, as Bryant mentioned. But otherwise, thank you guys very much for listening.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks. Appreciate
Thanks.
you guys.
Have a good 4th.
Adios, everybody.
Yep.